Namaste. So, every spiritual teacher that I know of, and certainly every tradition that I know of, is all saying, this is the highest teaching. This is the greatest knowledge. All the others are bogus. Well, if that's so, how is it that different mystics from different paths and teachings and traditions and cultures and religions and whatever from all over the world for a long time have talked about basically the same transcendental experience? Whether they call it merging with God or the Holy Ghost or becoming one with Allah or Brahman, or if they call it Nirvana or Nibbana or the Self, whatever they call it, the greatest mystics, the greatest enlightened people have all recounted the same experience. So if this way and that teaching and this other tradition and so on and so forth, these different schools, each one of them is the only right one and all the rest are wrong, how is that possible? Well, I think the answer is none of them are telling you the whole story. All of them are trying to talk up their view, their path, their teachings, and get you to be a customer. There's really only one tradition that I know that is inclusive instead of exclusive. And that's Shankaracharya's Shakti path. Now you're going to say, wait a minute. I thought Shankaracharya was teaching Kevala Advaita. And in Kevala Advaita, he says, this oneness is the only way and all other teachings are false. Well, yeah, he does say that. He does. But in practice, he's also writing hymns like Bhaja Govindam and Saundarya Lahari. So how is it possible? How can he have these so-called conflicting views? Well, if you've been following this channel for more than a day or two, you've seen our chart of the four views. Chaturdarshanam, Dvaita, duality, Vishishta Dvaita, conditioned non-duality, Vivarta, which means the world is just an appearance, and Ajata, which means the world is never born. So when I look at these four views, these progressive levels of self-realization, any path, any technique, any religious teaching or spiritual school that I know of fits on that scale somewhere. For example, just the other day, Michael McClure sent me this wonderful book, the Huangpo, about Chinese Zen, Chan, Buddhism. And as wonderful as that book is, and as high as it is, that book, its position on the scale is just below Ajata. As close as you can get to Ajata without going into it and just going into silence. It's a wonderful book. But even there, he says words to the effect of, this is the only way you're ever going to get enlightenment, otherwise forget it. Why is that? It bugs the heck out of me. Because why? Even something like Zen, which is very, very pure, actually has preconditions. It actually has a qualification, an adhikar, that you must possess to be ready for that path. In other words, it's not for everybody. No path is for everybody. They arise at different times and places, and they are suitable for a certain class of people at a certain time. And when that need passes, they disappear and others take their place. That's the way it should be, that's all right. No problem there. See, only Shakti, only the goddess is all-inclusive. I mean, look at nature. Nature runs an unlimited number of genetic experiments and, survival of the fittest and all that. So when things change, maybe one species or one particular strain dies out and another takes its place. You see, that's just the material world. Everything's constantly in flux. So it doesn't make any sense for any group or any teacher or any teaching or tradition to say, this is the only one forever and ever, amen. Because things are going to change. Just when you think you know what the world is all about, boom, it's going to change out from under you. Isn't it? Doesn't it happen again and again? Of course it does, because that's the nature of the world. Anicca, dukkha, anattma. Those are the three qualifications of the material world according to the Buddha. Anitya. It's not eternal. It's temporary. It's always changing. Dukkha. It's never satisfactory. There's always something wrong. It always seems to be headed towards dissolution and decay and death. And finally, anatma. It's non-self. It's other. So it's never going to be what you want it to be. That's the tragedy of the world. And the wonderful thing about the world is it never lets you get attached to it because of all those things. Yeah, you can be attached, but your attachment is going to be smashed. So you can become attached to one of these traditions or one of these teachings or methods or teachers or whatever, but that's going to be smashed too. You'll find out that the guy has a girlfriend on the side, or he's stealing money from the temple, or he's a CIA agent, or all of the above. Anytime you get attached, you're setting yourself up to be smashed. So there has to be a multiplicity of teachings to serve the needs of all the different beings in the world. There has to be a multiplicity of experiences to serve the karmic results of all the beings' activities. There can never be one way, one path, one door, one method. It's not possible. It's just not possible. I wish it was. It would make things a lot easier, wouldn't it? And some people are willing to dream that that is the case. My teacher, my path, my philosophy, or whatever, is the way for everybody, forever. And if you don't like it, bang, I'll shoot you. So this dream is going to turn into a nightmare. Because at some point you're going to find that path, whatever it is, whatever concept it's based on, is going to be insufficient. You see, that's the nightmare. The dream turns into a nightmare. Only if you give up attachment to any concepts whatsoever and just act spontaneously out of the moment can you understand. See, some people are confused. They say, you know, Dave, you used to be a Hare Krishna, and then you were some kind of Buddhist or existential philosopher, and then you got into, it seemed like you went into Osho for a while, and then you gave that up and you were into Ramana for a while, and then now you're into this goddess stuff. You know, what's with that? I'll tell you what's with that. Things change. At different stages of life, there are different paths and different methods that are appropriate. And of course, they're given by different teachers, because the nature of teaching is such that one has to specialize to be any good at it. And especially if you want to build up any kind of following or organization or something, you have to stick with it for a while. So the teachers, really the best teachers of any particular method, are those who have been doing it for a long time. There's no way around that. It's just a practical limitation. But that doesn't mean that teaching has to be your way, your path forever, your whole life. Huh? I mean, the mafia is like that, right? The CIA is like that. They say there's no such thing as retiring from the CIA. Well, there is, yeah, when you're dead and buried. Oh, now he's retired. Why? Because you know too many secrets. So, in the same way, some spiritual organizations require that you be a lifetime member. And if you leave, oh my God, you're going to hell, you're on the blacklist forever, nobody will reply to your emails anymore, you lose all your friends. Oh, that's a cult. Cults do that. Real spiritual organizations, if there are any, which I actually don't know of, wouldn't do that. But in practice, they pretty much all do that. So that's why I don't associate with any of them. They're all cheating. They're all telling you, this is the best teaching, this is the only way, this is the only one, and you got to stick with this for the rest of your life. And then they make it impossible for you to graduate for whatever the thing is. Like when I was in ISKCON, for example, they talked about spontaneous bhakti. But in practice, nobody could attain spontaneous bhakti, or certainly even if they did, they would not be recognized, because that would make them on a higher platform. And then all the big muckamucks would have to take him as a guru, and that just ain't going to happen because of organizational politics. That's just the way it is. So nobody's going to tell you the whole story. It doesn't serve their interests. And that's the problem. They have interests, you see. They want something. They want a lot of followers. They want a big organization. They want money and power and influence. I don't support that because it's cheating business. The real truth is, hey, there is a whole bunch of teachings out there, and one of them or a set of them is the right teaching for you in this moment. I've often said, it doesn't make any sense to practice just one yoga, because the human being has several parts. I mean, let's just look at it in terms of the chakras, for example. You have the root chakra, the energy chakra, the movement chakra, the heart chakra, the speech chakra, the thinking chakra, and the ecstasy chakra. So how can one yoga meet all those needs? Well, maybe some of them did in the beginning, like Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga had different stages that seemed to correspond with the different chakras. But nobody teaches that anymore. They call it Ashtanga Yoga, but they only teach like Do Anga. It's crazy. So this world of names is actually a world of cheating, because they take something like Buddha's teaching and they call it Buddhism, right? And as soon as they call it this ism, that ism, it loses its original power, because it's become an abstraction. And now it can't be changed. It can't evolve. It can't grow. The original enlightened being that originated that teaching is gone. And all you have left is a bunch of spiritual politicians managing a big organization. So, of course, we can't change anything, because actually we don't know what this thing is about. They're not realized. So really, the only way, you have to find a realized being. Somebody who knows all this stuff and can guide you. Not order you, not direct you, not make you into a disciple, a slave, but a friend who can guide you, who can give you good guidance. People pay $200 an hour for a psychotherapist these days. But no psychotherapist can tell you how to realize the self. They don't know. You have to find somebody who knows and who can explain all this stuff. But the paradox of all paradoxes is there are very, very few of those people around. Most of the people who make themselves publicly available aren't realized. And most of the people who are realized don't make themselves publicly available. You know why? They keep getting trashed. People come to them, pretend to be a student or pretend to be a friend, and then sometime later they turn around and betray them. It's an old story. My Adi Guru used to say, kill Guru and become Guru. So that's the mentality of most so-called followers. They actually want to become Guru. And they think, well, if I hang out with this guy, maybe I'll learn how to do it. But in the end, they shoot themselves in the foot. They saw off the branch that they're sitting on because they offend the Guru. And as we've talked about here many times, Guru Aparad is the very most serious offense that will cause you a lot of suffering. So if you approach someone like that, you must be sincere. And I send people away because I can see they're not sincere. And they're only going to create offenses, and that's going to hurt them more than any little bit that I can help them in the short time that they make themselves available to me. So, I don't know what to tell you. You got any ideas? Let me know, because I don't know anybody else who's actually going to tell you the whole story. Om Tat Sat. Om Harihi Om.